Hi, I'm Dana Nielsen, Senior Information Designer at Convergent IS. Today, I'm here to talk to you about a few really common design thinking myths. We've all heard of design thinking, but it's a bit of a black box. In my experience, there are two really common myths about it. The first is that it's a magic bullet. No matter what the problem is, if you put enough creative types in a room with enough sticky notes, something magical will happen and your business is going to be transformed in ways that you never dreamed of. It must work like this, right? Because all the best companies are doing it. Well, I can't blame you for thinking this. It is the impression that you would get if you just looked at stock images or salesy listicles. But in reality, those are focusing on brainstorming, which is just one piece of the overall puzzle, and that's just one way to do it. The reason that we see this over and over again is that it makes a good visual. Everyone likes sticky notes. They're fun, they're colorful, but the real meat of design thinking is not as photogenic and is a little harder to explain, so it often gets glossed over. And deep down, some designers might enjoy being a little bit vague about design thinking to help perpetuate the mystery and the belief that we are the keepers of some sort of secret sauce. The second and opposing myth is that design thinking is an empty buzzword. It's the latest feel-good business fad, but it doesn't have any real meaning and doesn't produce results. While any trend should be met with a healthy dose of skepticism, design thinking does actually produce real results and innovative solutions when it's implemented properly. Case in point, the Design Management Institute tracks design-centric companies and found that they outperformed the S&P index over many years. I think this belief came about for a couple of reasons. Like any method, a half-hearted or poor implementation can leave a bad taste. And second, design thinking is prone to misunderstandings and misinterpretations, hence this video. Like in most things, the truth lies somewhere in the middle of these two myths. Let's dive into 5 specific misconceptions about design thinking. Myth number 1, design thinking is only for creating high-tech consumer products. Just because some of the most celebrated examples of design thinking, like Apple, focus on high-tech, glamorous, exciting consumer technology doesn't mean that it is the only case for design thinking. Design thinking is a human-centered approach to problem solving. That's it. So whenever you have humans, whether they are customers, employees, partners, vendors, prospects, anyone who has a complex problem that you are looking to solve, you should consider design thinking. For example, it can also benefit existing processes, internal products, services, and strategies. At Convergent IS, a lot of our design engagements are actually around helping clients innovate existing internal processes and applications for their employees. There's a lot of overlooked value in this space. Myth number 2, you have to be creative to do design thinking, or you have to be a designer. This is nonsense. As I've already said, design thinking in this sense isn't making things pretty, it's problem solving. And we are all problem solvers, whether we realize it or not. Design thinking can be used by anyone in an organization who wants to take a more creative approach to their problem solving. I encounter this misconception a lot in my design workshops. People are a little bit hesitant to participate because they think designing and creativity are so far from their normal everyday jobs that they can't do them. Design thinking actually benefits from a variety of perspectives and experiences, and that is why we always make sure to include people from different groups and departments in our design workshops. Creativity itself is a skill, and like any skill, you can practice and improve. The boundaries of the exercises and techniques used in design thinking can actually help inspire you to be creative. Our expert facilitators will guide you through it, and people are often pleasantly surprised at their own results. Myth number 3, design thinking takes too much time. We all have to work under the pressure of outside influences and tight deadlines. I'm not going to tell you that design thinking doesn't take time. I will say that it can be used to shortcut those endless rounds of discussion that some projects can fall prey to. Individual brainstorming, voting, and testing are really quick, efficient methods to generate solutions with minimal discussion and groupthink. Also, a little design thinking investment upfront often pays off in time savings later. specifically in reduced development time and less rework. This point really hits home for our clients when we are doing usability testing on our prototypes. We always invite our clients to sit in and view the tests. Invariably, there's at least one element in the design that doesn't work quite as well as we thought it would for the end users, and clients are often really surprised by these results. Identifying and fixing those issues early in the development cycle is more time and cost-effective than doing an enhancement or a replacement project later. More good news! Design thinking is a human-centered mindset that you can start today with very little effort. Next, I'll give you a few simple ways to start incorporating it into your everyday work. Myth number 4, design thinking needs to be a big thing. You don't need to put together a dedicated team to get started with design thinking. Design thinking works best when it's embedded in your work culture, and that can start anywhere in an organization, even from the bottom up. The most important part is being human-centered. So start by simply thinking of the end user of your work. Whether you're drafting an email, planning an event, writing some code, or putting together a presentation. Consider what their needs, wants, and goals might be, and let that guide your choices. Be mindful of how that changes your work, and monitor the results. When you're ready to move on to tackling bigger projects with more rigorous design thinking methods, consultants like us can help bring an outside perspective, a comprehensive toolkit, and facilitation experience to the table. Check out our other videos on practical design thinking tips to get started. And last but not least, myth number 5, design thinking is a recipe that will give me what I want. Design thinking is not a prescribed course, nor is it a magic bullet. As I've mentioned in my other points, it's more of a philosophy or a framework. You will often see a 5-step process associated with design thinking. That's a little misleading. In reality, it's non-linear, and each of those 5 steps may influence any of the others. Let me be a little more clear. Those 5 steps are the basic stages, though there are many paths through design thinking and many tools that you can use for specific jobs. At Convergent IS, we primarily use the design sprint methodology. Choosing the right tools for the job and skillfully guiding you through the process, choosing what to apply, where and when, is where an expert facilitator comes in handy. And once you've used design thinking to come up with an innovative solution and insights, you're not done. You still need to implement it. This sounds obvious, but it's a frequently neglected step that can cause good results to fizzle out. That's why we work closely with our developers through every project to see it through to the end. That's all. I hope it helped shed some light on design thinking and what it is and isn't, and encouraged you to give it a try in your organization. Remember, design thinking is for everyone.